know, this story of Bosnia and Mickey and Zana and Amna, it's actually my story too, because I was this policymaker and my life was really transformed by this experience. I was asked by the US ambassador to Bosnia if I would come down and help him out. Now, when I went as chief of mission to Austria, I had no intention of doing anything related to the conflict in Yugoslavia, and I certainly wasn't going to focus on women. But I went because of him. He said he had one reporting officer, one, because the war was being run here in Washington, which we all understand, but it's a disaster, in fact. And so I went up to Germany, and I was strapped in the belly of a cargo plane with 50,000 pounds of flour. And when I got to Bosnia, I went all around, and I discovered that there were 40 multi-ethnic groups of women who had been working to prevent the war, who were committed to stopping it. But our US government didn't know about them, and you can't support some group that you don't know about. And, you know, in fact, like, who among us was thinking about the millions of women who were literally embedded all across Yugoslavia, who had a power of persuasion and a tremendous moral authority?
Women have been organizing against war since the time of the Greeks. I worked with them from Afghanistan to Colombia as wise negotiators, practical reconcilers, security personnel, and of course, as loving mothers. So what happened in Bosnia is not unique to Bosnia.
Well, Mickey, it's not unique to me either. I mean, there's so many well-intentioned policymakers, but this whole idea of this piece of security, it's really missing.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And that's why some of us coined this idea of inclusive security, because the idea is that you've got to bring all the stakeholders around the table if you're going to have a really solid and lasting agreement, right?
Yeah.
And so the dean at Harvard, at the Kennedy School of Government, Joe Nye, asked me if I would come there and really bring this doctrine, if you will. And that's when Mickey and I got 100 women together from 10 conflict areas. We brought them there for 2 weeks.
And about 100 policymakers flew up to Boston from state, aid, DOD, other agencies, European Union, and they were joined by scores of researchers. That was the founding of our institute.
Now, Dean Nye was intrigued by this idea of linking inclusivity with security, because it was a manifestation of his idea of soft power. And so he and Senator Ted Kennedy did the opening of that meeting in Cambridge, and I'm sure that there were many of you who were there. And there were also many of the women leaders from different conflict zones who are sitting among you in the auditorium now. We've worked with them over the years, but also with many others who are here today across these 15 years.
And these women, they are on the front lines of preventing violence, stopping war, rebuilding their communities, and some do it literally today. So please stand. Let us honor you, and let us thank you for coming from more than 20 countries, some of you at great risk.